It's no secret that I love books as much as the next internet bookworm does. I have books everywhere in my home, they fill every nook and cranny, and I love looking at them. Books have always sparked joy. However, throughout my adult years, I have realized that I want a library that feels like me. I want books that have been read and loved to stay on my shelves, but I don't want piles and piles of unread books to clutter my home. I have therefore decided to start the Bookshelf Blitz, where I will be reading or unhauling these books in an effort to reduce my physically owned TBR. We are starting this process with 205 unread books, and by the end of 2025, my goal is to have reduced this number by 25%. In an effort to make this more interesting, I will be playing different TBR games to pick what books I will be reading. These TBR games include a book Jenga, book bingo, and so many more. Each episode will bring you a new surprise. I'm so excited to go on this adventure with you. Welcome to the Bookshelf Blitz. Hey guys, what is up? My name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new, and welcome to episode 4 of Bookshelf Blitz, where I'm trying to read down my physical TBR. I told you guys at the last episode that I was going to start this episode by letting you guys know how we are doing, because the whole essence and the whole reason behind Bookshelf Blitz is to narrow down my TBR by 25% before the end of 2025. I have done a quarterly check-in seeing how many books I have that are unread on my shelves, and there is good and bad news. I started this with 186 unread books on my TBR. We are down to 182. Now, I have read more than 4 books this year. I've read almost 30 books. However, because it was recently my birthday, we did have an increase in the amount of books that I got, purchased, was gifted, that are now on my shelves that I haven't read. And so I'm happy that we haven't gone over the 186 books, but we have some work to do, so I'm here to start us off with another episode. We are going back to the TBR jar for this one because I feel a need to purge and be rootless, and what better way to just have the jar pick what it is we are going to read. I don't know how many picks I'm going to do. There are timestamps down below with the amount of books I am doing and picking, but enough chatting, let's get into our first pick. We have the TBR jar, which is a big strawberry. The books are all in there. Each color is for a different genre. You guys know the drill. If I pick a book for a video series that I'm working on, I'm not going to choose it. Any holiday books are going back in the jar, and let's go. We have green, which is already a good sign. And I have read this already. This is the Doomtown Dummies. If I can somehow show you guys this. I read this back in March, so in the trash it goes. Let's start again. Purple. Okay. You know what? We're gonna do this. I was planning it for possibly another video, but I don't think, oh my god, I'm dropping everything. I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm very excited about this. This is not focusing. The Frugal Wizard's Guide, Handbook to Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. This was, I believe, I don't know which secret project it is, when it came out, but it is one of the 4 secret projects. I'm incredibly excited for this. Okay, let me grab the book and we'll talk this through. This is the book in question, and I have no idea what this is really about or how I'm going to feel about this. I just think I'm going to love this. This is obviously a 5-star prediction, and just look, I'm sorry, look at these end papers. Stunning. So this is what we're reading. This is a guy, a person who doesn't remember anything, who appear in medieval England, and then they need to figure out a way to survive and probably get back to where they're from. I am going to listen to the graphic audio of this. I'm getting my next Audible credit in like 2 days, so that's probably when I'm going to start to read this. But I am so excited. This book is what, like 400 pages? Not even 400 pages. I can definitely do this. And as I said, this is definitely a 5-star prediction. So we'll see how it goes. Once I have more of an idea what this book is about, I will come back and give you a better synopsis. But oh my god, Brandy Sandy starting us off is always a good sign. Hello friends, I am here for my first update with this book. The title of this book is way too long. The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. It hasn't been this much time like since we've last seen each other, but I do feel like I look extremely different with my hair being a different color, and I don't even know if I have the same nails, but it hasn't been weeks. It's been a couple of days. It's just the transformation happened very quickly, so I'm sorry for the jump scare if I look different. I read the first 60 pages. I'm around 15% of the way through, and usually I don't like to update this early because it's still extremely early, but I feel like I need to talk this one out, so we might have a few more updates than usual for this specific book. The thing is, my current reaction and the reaction I've had since page 1 is WTF. Like, what? This book is not bad by any means. It feels very Brandon Sanderson in its writing. It's just the rest of it is a little bit outside of my comfort zone, and I feel like it's very different than what a lot of people expected from this, because I went and I looked at like non-spoilery reviews because I was like, am I missing something from the get-go? Am I not appreciating this in the way it should be appreciated? Turns out I think I'm in the clear with this one, in the fact that like I am very much the regular person's opinion. This book literally quite throws you into a setting, and you kind of uncover what is happening with our main character. So at the beginning of this, our main character kind of wakes up and doesn't understand where he is, who he is, and he kind of tries to gather context clues. And so we go on kind of this journey with our character, who is in kind of like this medieval England setting, to figure out who he is, why he's there, and then things unravel, and it's you solving kind of like a bunch of puzzles as to what we're doing and how to survive this setting. It kind of feels like a video game in my brain with the graphic audio. It kind of feels like you're following this plot line of a character going through like a world, and you have to kind of go through this video game. I am surprisingly not the biggest fan of this format, and I'm not loving the fact that we know absolutely nothing about our character, because if I don't care about my characters, I have a hard time getting through books. The world building in here is fine. It's just, again, not things I really love reading about, and I did know this book was a little bit more on the quirky, weird side, which I can really get behind. I just don't seem to be like absolutely invested in this, even with the fact that I'm listening to this with the graphic audio, which is a lot more immersive than if I was just reading this through the pages. It's told in a fun way, and it makes it a lot more interactive with like the frequently asked questions segments in here, and the fact that like it's kind of like a going on an adventure type vibe. But for now, this is definitely not feeling like a 5-star prediction anymore, and would I even say higher than a 3-star? For now, no. Objectively, it's fine. I think if I knew a little bit more about this book before getting it, it probably wouldn't have made it into my home library, but it is Brandon Sanderson, and I do want to get familiar with as many of his books as possible. And considering the fact that I'm kind of working through his secret projects, it felt like a good fit. And I did think this was going to be a 5-star, but we'll see how the story goes. I'll probably update you guys when either something happens or I've made it to the halfway point. Sometimes I'm considering like, is this going to be a DNF? Will I be able to power through the last like 4 hours I need to listen to of this book? We'll see how this goes, but so far I'm feeling a big mix of emotions. Some of them are fine. A lot of them are sort of fine / negative. So we'll see. I don't even know if this is going to end up staying on the shelves, which is very surprising for a Brandon Sanderson book. But that's where we're at with this one. It's taking me a little bit more time than, for example, a middle grade book. But we're not in a hurry. So I'll come back when I have more updates. Hello friends. It has been a while since I've talked to you, and I realized that I wasn't making progress in my reading this month because I was trying to force myself to read this book. I'm not having a good time, so you know what we're doing? We're DNFing this. I did not want to DNF this because it's Brandon Sanderson, but it's very silly of me to be doing that because what does it matter? I'm probably not going to like everything this man writes, and that's okay. I don't like every single book from my favorite authors, and that's okay. I realize that I don't care. And the thing is, I've been reading these two at once. Both of them don't necessarily have what I would consider to be the strongest plots in the universe, the most riveting stories. This, however, has been making me want to cry, bawl my eyes out. I've been tabbing this book like crazy. And I've been loving it because I care for the characters. And I think I mentioned this at the beginning of this vlog. Characters is something I need in a story in order to be able to move forward, care enough to read. I've been flying through this book, like I'm 50% of the way through. I'm loving this. Is there the most intense plot? Is this the Stormlight Archives? Is this Mistborn? No. Am I still loving it? Absolutely. This? No. I don't know if my current state of mind is making it an issue, if me comparing Yumi to this is a disservice. I might stick this back on my shelves and back in the jar. If I pick it up one more time, I have to make a final decision on whether or not I'm going to unhaul this. But for now, we're calling this a DNF and we're going to move on to the next book because I don't want to put myself in an unnecessary slump this far into like all of my reading projects because there's so many wonderful books on my shelf that I want to read. If I'm not feeling this, and if it was another author, I would have DNF'd this probably from page 5. I gave it a shot. I didn't read much more than when I last updated you because I don't want to pick this up. And that is telling because I always get very excited to pick up Yumi. So we're gonna keep going forward with this project. I'm sorry for you guys who wanted like full thoughts on this, but I don't think I am the target audience for this book, and I think the opinion, as I said, is probably shared for a lot of us, and this is not in the Cosmere as well, so I'm not taking it as poorly that I'm not enjoying this because, like, for example, this is a Cosmere novel, this is not. My goal is probably to be as familiar as I can with the Cosmere. We don't really care about this, so moving on. Hello friends, editing Megan here. I lost all the footage for book 2 of this vlog and video project, so we're gonna stop this after one book. Technically, usually for Bookshelf Blitz, all of my episodes have had at least 2 books. I like to favor 3, but with the time commitment for April, I was only going to get 2 books. But I lost all of the footage for that other book, which I will just talk about in my wrap up at the end of the month instead, because what is the point of just summarizing it when I do wrap ups? So I am sorry there's only one book in here, but I do hope you guys enjoyed my take, even though it was a DNF. Ultimately, I think it was an interesting video nonetheless, which is why I still want to put it up because I'm documenting my Brandon Sanderson journey, so I thought better put this up on the internet and kind of have that be part of my journey. Hope you guys aren't too upset. I will be back by the end of May, hopefully, with another round of this. We are going back to the spinner wheel for next month. That is all I have to say. I'm not gonna get angry at losing footage because what's the point? So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye guys, happy reading.